Good morning, lovelies. Good morning, good morning. Just a quick word. I just had to not even do a live on it, just do a video on it, just to post the discovery of the teacher's body. I mean, I know this. It has become such a norm. The conversation continues about women, and crime in Jamaica. It is just, when I saw the news, I'm just like, I had a big sigh, like, oh, again. But it is something that, as a nation, we need to look at very carefully. It is becoming, and it is not just becoming, it is the same social roots that we had ignored and not intervened years ago. These are the fruits of those seeds that were sown years ago. So this crime monster, this crime thing that is happening in Jamaica, it's not just something that just emerge out of nowhere. There were behaviors, there were deviance, there were system failures, there were poor governance. There's a lot of things that fed into what's happening today. How can we change the course that we're on? It has to be a unison approach. Government, NGO, churches, citizen, everybody has a part to play in this, because whilst there is one hand that does things, we have to make sure the system of governance, the laws, the court, all of that, maintain and uphold it from another perspective. And there has been a lot of systemic failure. There has been a lot of non-intervention by government on several issues. So this morning, I want to implore everyone, ladies in particular, we have to send a message out. Be very mindful. We are very much under threat. The very nature of us is to be nurturing and caring. So when we see persons in need, we automatically want to respond. So we have to now do our due diligence in everything. And everyone around us have to be vetted. It's no longer about knowing someone from that period of time and oh, you're feeling comfortable. Everyone around you have to be vetted. When you leave your location to go to another, there has to be some communication between someone who can time and know exactly where you should have arrived. There should be some code that you can send. If you're talking to someone on the phone and you're abducted or something, you can give a pass. Listen, we have to just get so clinical and critical and very scientifical right now, because our very lives are depending on it. Mothers, be very careful how you send your children to the shop and things like that. Be more proactive. Stop leaving the children with persons who you feel comfortable with. This is the case that's happening. A lot of children are being molested. The news is reporting grandparents, brothers, cousins. So it's no longer a safe haven to leave your child with someone who you thought was a good role model or someone who you thought is safe. The very existence of us is in jeopardy. And so as women, we must send a message. And we must educate other persons. And we must tell people. And the men also are a part of this journey. Because even now, the level of crime in Jamaica is not partiality. It's not partial to any one person right now. Now, I heard a report that the stats for women murder, homicide is going down, or pretty much flat, I think. But in that report, I wondered though, how many of that is a domestic driven violence? All right, so I would like to know. They didn't break it out in further, because in that scenario, I would want them to start doing some gender research to see what portion of that was attributed to a woman being murdered by her spouse, or a spouse, a male being murdered by his woman. I would love to see that data, because that would tell me now, in fact, not just the level of homicide in Jamaica, but also whether or not the homicides are driven. So that can tell me, okay, so I'm seeing women being murdered, I'm seeing this being happening. So what portion of that is actually attributed to the spouse, the domestic relation issues? Because I cannot, not because we're in a social media time, there are some cases that have gone unreported because women are not reporting them in some instances. So where in that mechanism it takes for the unreported, right? Where is in that report? Because I honestly, they said the stats don't lie, but I would want you to drill down. I would want the JCF, I would want the persons who are giving that information to drill a little bit deeper, because we would want to see what really portion of that killing you refer to as homicide for female homicides are going down, but what portion of that is actually attributed to domestic violence. Because you might have a flat 10%, but you know what, in that 10% you used to have 5% of it being a violent crime, and so happen that you are reducing in one area but violent crime is going up, but you're still representing the 10%. So I'm just curious about that, because it's, we are quick to dismiss this issue and talk about this varying issue. Another thing that I see happening, and we have to shame this devil and put it to rest: victim blaming. Oh, but because she took this stuff from the man, or because she took this, and so are you saying it's okay to be murdered? Is that the rationale here? It's okay to be murdered? Do you see any woman murdering man for what they took from them? So I'm just saying, we have to be very careful. Yes, I agree. We have to be mindful of the social, mental capacity of some persons we get ourselves into in relationship. But those are relationship goals that we must look at, because relationship have stages. It has steps. You must know in a good and healthy relationship or a toxic relationship. That happens. There's a giving and there's a taking in that healthy relationship, right? So you have to determine what and who you're settling with. But I'm not going to sit here and say it's okay because she chose to work late one evening and come in, somebody abduct her. Oh, but she should have come home early at night time, or she shouldn't wear the pants there. No, we need to stop victim blaming and we need to stop victim shaming. What we need to do is go to the root of the issue, which is crime is a monster in Jamaica. Start looking at the system, start looking at the policies, start looking at the prevention mechanism that exists and work through those. Too often we start shaming the victim. We start putting them down. And what do you think that happened? What do you think is a result of that? They no longer want to report the crime because they start feeling societies are already burdening them as if it's their fault. So they have no support group. They have no support place to go. They have no shelter, which is one, and barely, I am not sure if it's functional and opening and ready. I am not sure, but I don't want to talk on that right now. But again, we do a lot of things in Jamaica for the PR of it, and it sounds good on paper and it sounds good in the media too. But real lives are affected, and it has to be. We cannot continue to wake up one morning, hear that another one of our citizens has died so senselessly. People are soliciting assassins for $5,000. Where did Jamaica get to this level that you can get somebody to kill somebody and give them $5,000? Just think about it, Jamaica. $5,000, a money. It's so, we have just gone down a slippery slope. And I'm saying to all Jamaicans, it's not just one side that is being affected. All of us, it is creeping up into the very bowels of our nation. And it's something that I have pleaded on several platforms on this issue, and I will continue to be an advocate because I love my country. I want to continue raising family, enjoy the life of this beautiful country. But it is in jeopardy if we continue to behave this way.